HOA Karen called 911 when I released goats on my lake farm, but it was registered under a secret trust. Have you ever seen someone call the police over a goat? No, really. A goat. Actually, 27 of them. And they were mine. Every last one of those fuzzy, bleeding, grass-munching miracles was a gift from my niece after I signed over our family's lakeside property into a conservation trust. For agriculture. For therapy. For joy. But HOA Karen? Karen saw something different. To her, they were biohazards with hooves. It all started on a warm Saturday morning. I just come back from the farmer's market with 2 crates of honeycomb and a fresh jug of goat milk from our own herd, which I'd released near the cove to graze on the invasive ivy, choking out the native wildflowers. It was peaceful, honest, the way my grandfather intended this place to be used. That peace lasted all of 18 minutes. Because that's when Karen Stouffer, president of the HOA 2 roads over, charged down the trail in full meltdown mode. Imagine a cannonball in capri pants. Her cheeks flushed crimson under a visor 2 sizes too small, and her voice god help resounded like someone strangling a goose through a megaphone. "Get those animals off this property," she shrieked for the edge of the dock. I calmly looked up. "This is my land, Karen." "No, it isn't," she bellowed, wheezing between syllables. "This is community shoreline now. No livestock is permitted per HOA Regulation 6F. I smiled. "Karen, this is an HOA land. Never has been." Her hands flapped like angry wings. "Then why was I told to include this in the Wildlife Beautification Survey?" I shrugged. "Maybe because you assumed wrong." Karen's eyes narrowed into furious little beads. "Don't play smart with me. I am president of Lakeshore Estates, and I say this is shared greenbelt." And that's when she pulled out her phone. You know what came next? "Yes, 911. I'm reporting agricultural contamination at the lakefront. Goats. Unsupervised. Possibly aggressive. Property is being used illegally." She actually said agricultural contamination. Meanwhile, my goats Biscuit, Marbles, and Captain Hoof were happily nibbling dockside weeds and completely ignoring her. My niece, Emma, a savvy 19-year-old who handles my filing, stood beside them holding a binder full of county documents. "Should I go ahead and get the file ready?" she asked. I grinned. "Yup, time for the fun part." 15 minutes later, 2 sheriff's deputies rolled up in a cruiser, sirens off, but lights blinking, probably assuming it was a misunderstanding. Until Karen ran at them full speed, flapping her clipboard and screaming something about an eco-crisis. I waved from the gate and said, "Mornin', fellas." One of them was Officer Patel. I knew him. Bought strawberries from his daughter at last year's fair. "Morning, Mr. Harris," he said with a wary smile. "Karen says you're running a livestock operation in a protected zone." "I am," I said calmly, handing him a manila folder. "Except it's not HOA land. It's held in a conservation trust." Emma stepped forward and flipped open the folder like a lawyer in training. "Filed under the Harris-Healy Trust. Registered with the county 6 years ago. Redesignated as a therapeutic agri-site last fall under State Statute 182B. Zoned for unrestricted rotational grazing, natural water access, and certified herd use up to 40 units. Karen froze. Her mouth twitched like it was trying to reboot. "What is this? A trick?" she snapped. "No," Officer Patel said as he scanned the county map. "He's right. This parcel was carved out before the HOA was ever incorporated. It's fully sovereign under the land trust." Emma smiled and added, "And any interference from non-stakeholders constitutes trespassing and obstruction." Karen turned pale. "That's ridiculous. Nobody told me this." "That's because you never asked," I said. "You just assumed." Again, I should have let her leave then. But Karen never knew when to quit. She demanded the deputies ticket me for public nuisance livestock, claimed the goats were causing algae blooms, and tried to say I was violating shoreline preservation guidelines. Then Emma calmly handed Patel a certified EPA document from 2 months earlier. "We were awarded a federal microgrant," she said, "to use goats as sustainable control for invasive plants on lakeside soil. These animals are part of a funded ecological restoration plan. Patel blinked. His partner muttered, "You serious?" Emma nodded. "Serious enough that we're on the state agri-tourism registry now. You can look us up. Goats on the lake." Karen's jaw dropped. "You're on a registry? With the state?" Emma couldn't help herself. "Would you like a brochure?" That's when Karen lost it. She slapped the binder out of Emma's hands, sending papers fluttering into the lake. She tried to shove past the goats, yelling, "I'll report all of you." Big mistake. Captain Hoof, startled by the sudden movement, headbutt Karen square in the hip. Not hard enough to hurt, but just enough to knock her backwards into the marshy shallows with a wet, gurgling splat. Goats scattered. Emma gasped, and I, shamefully, may have laughed a little. Karen flailed, soaked, shrieking. "That goat attacked me." But Patel calmly helped her to her feet, glancing sideways. "Ma'am, you just struck a minor and trespassed on private property under trust law. If you don't calm down, we will have to cite you." Karen stood there, dripping pond water and ego, her floral blouse clinging to every roll like it was trying to flee her body. Her sandals squelched with every step as she stumbled backward, realizing for the first time that this wasn't just a little power trip gone wrong. This was a public meltdown in front of uniformed deputies, a teenage girl with folders full of receipts, and half the lakefront neighborhood who'd come out to see what the screaming was about. Officer Patel radioed for a wildlife officer to assess the situation, not because the goats posed a threat, but because Karen had just assaulted a minor and caused property damage. And the surprises weren't done. Twist number 1. When the wildlife officer arrived, she wasn't some sleepy county agent. It was Lydia Mendez, lead biologist with the State Lake Conservation Task Force, the very person who had approved our goat grazing plan. She spotted me and Emma from across the trail and smiled wide. "Mr. Harris," she called out. "Glad to see your herd's doing good work." Then she spotted Karen. Wet, furious, still yelling about bylaws. Karen tried to pivot. "These goats are disturbing the nesting cranes. There's runoff. There's contamination." Lydia pulled out her tablet, tapped a few times, and calmly replied, "Actually, they've improved this shoreline by 46%. And you, ma'am, are not permitted to be within 30 feet of a registered restoration site without clearance." Karen froze. "That can't be right. I'm HOA president." Lydia smiled. "You're trespassing on protected land held in a state-verified trust, which you vandalized and disrupted while screaming at a child and disturbing certified livestock." Karen's face melted into a grimace of dread, and it was about to get worse. Twist number 2. The HOA board voted her out that night. Yep, turns out Karen had been causing issues for everyone. The HOA vice president, though, also been fined for putting wind chimes on his own porch, held an emergency meeting over Zoom, pulled up the footage of the incident, shout out to our solar power trail cam, and passed a motion to strip Karen of all duties effective immediately. The footage went viral. Titled, "HOA Karen Gets Goat Justice," it hit 1.3 million views in 2 days. And the best part? Karen was sued by her own HOA for reckless conduct, public embarrassment, and liability damages after the HOA's insurance was suspended pending investigation. The trust? Safe. The goats? Local celebrities. Emma even made them little name tags for lake tour visitors. We installed a brand new wooden sign at the gate where Karen once screamed across the fence. It reads, "This land belongs to those who grow it, not those who govern it." 3 weeks later, we held a community harvest picnic by the dock. Open to everyone, HOA member or not. Kids fed the goats. Neighbors laughed. And for the first time in years, people from both sides of the trail actually spoke like neighbors. Karen never showed her face again. Her house sold in early fall. Quietly. No goodbye note. No more fines taped to our barn. Just an empty mailbox and a dead azalea bush she'd once fined us over for being too wild. So now let me ask you, was Karen protecting her neighborhood from rogue goats? Or did she just try to conquer a pasture she never understood? The end.